welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean. Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Qoncert app. The Qoncert app is an artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives the fan the best experience in independent live music. Now, one thing we're going to talk about this stat that 38 million songs went unheard last year. So, wow, that's just 38 million songs went unheard. Unheard. How to cut through that noise. How to cut through the noise of being heard. Now, see, here's the thing about this. Platforms are a gift and a curse. Because one thing the gift is that it allows you to put your music out there in a space that it isn't just in your house. But because in the past, you make the song, you make the CD, you record it, and no one ever hears it because you can't distribute it. So unless you buy multiple CDs, like I came out in the time, like the beginning of my career was at the end of CDs. So it was like at the point where people were still making CDs. And this is why it's so important, even with Qoncert. And I tell all these artists all the time, build your own fan base. They argue with me, man, God, I want to go do a show where the fans are already there. I need to promote it to bring the fans. That doesn't do nothing for you. It doesn't do one thing for you. It makes you feel good the night you perform. But if you can't make those people into real fans, it don't matter. So to cut through all the noise, like what happens with these platforms is this. It's the total opposite, but it ends up being the exact same thing. So back in the day when you made songs, for you to get it out there, you had to have a distribution. So you had to have some way to make the CDs, to multiply CDs so you could get them to people. To get them at a high rate, you more than likely have to have distribution or something of that nature because you can't sell one-to-one at that rate. But then some people did. Some people went over a year and sold 1 million, and they did what they needed to do, especially out in Houston. However, for the majority of people, they weren't able to figure that out to make that happen. What happens with these platforms is as the noise gets louder, so then in this world, not many people can make CDs and make them at that level. So then that makes it so no one gets heard. In this world, it's so many people making music and getting it out that no one gets heard because it then becomes all that noise. So ways to make it, the first way I always say is shows. And the reason shows are what they are is because this makes it a place where people can come see you. So let's just say the organic fan base build is really where it's at if you want to get heard. How can you build a fan base personally and online that will consistently listen to you? I'm a person, I don't have, even my whole career, I never had that many streams. But back in the day, I sold 1,000 CDs tons of times. However, I understood how many people I need to listen to this music consistently. So when I get 1,000 plays or 2,000 plays, that's because I have real fans that listen and then are going to come see me perform. And then I would make my money from the actual performance because they're going to come see me. I'm going to get sponsors based on these people because these people will then come and support other things and they purchase products. So then they will go towards places that I may be like, yo, you should do this and this. You should drink this or smoke this or whatever like that. They're more than likely going to support those things because that's what's around me and they support me. But I didn't need all the streams. Just found my niche. And that's where you have the opportunity to cut through all the noises because you find your own little niche, your own little group of fans that will support you. Now, of course, you can do all the things that they say to do to try to do some type of stunt to make people pay attention to you. Of course, we talked about this. You can do things with your brand. You can do things with your brand to make you stand out. And those things can make it so people want to click on your song. Of course, when you do wild things, it does, which I would never say to do because it's hard to keep that going. As you watch tons of these stunt dudes, they start to they start to decelerate. You know what I'm saying? They pop up, they do all this crazy stuff, and then now it's just getting less and less because the shock value goes away. However, that is a route to possibly make your music get seen. And if you can turn it back over and you're talented enough to make people go like, oh, that was just a stunt, but this person's super talented, then you have a chance there. Another way, of course, to try to cut through all this noise is money. I hate to say it, but money can cut through all the noise. So if you're going to put money into it, then figure out where you need to put the money. Some people put it in playlisting. And then if you understand what type of artist that you sound like, or what type of artist that you, I'd say just go for who you sound like, or who has like a common brand to you. Then when you put your music out, if you have money, you can get your stuff placed next to some of these situations. And that's how you cut through the noise that way. I personally will always come back to the same thing. That organic fan base is the one way that you can control this and cut through the noise consistently, because they're going to be your fan, and then that makes it so you're always getting heard. For 38 million people, not 38 million songs not to be heard this year, that tells you, and so that I don't even think that counts the ones that had like one listen or two listens or whatever like that. I don't know where they're counting this at, but for it to not be heard, that tells you that a lot of artists don't work. Like, they don't want to do the grind. They just want to put out music. And maybe the satisfaction is just being in the hobby of putting out music. To me, that has never been the thing. So then if you want to be in this and be successful and be able to make money in this, that can't be the feeling that, hey, I'm just going to put the song out and see where it goes. Like, so that also tells you that tons of people are just making song after song after song and just putting it up, and it's just not doing nothing. So you need to find that niche. Personally, to me, you need to find that niche of people that are going to listen to it, and then try to replicate that niche of people and go like, hey, these are the type of people that listen to this. Let's find another group of them and connect them together. And then you'll always be heard. Then you never have that problem of being totally unheard of, no one listening to it at all, because there's always going to be these people that are going to be like, yo, I got to hear what this kid puts out. I got to hear what this group puts out, or whatever. Now, the one thing about this is that, as I said, when you put platforms out that make everything accessible and allows everyone to do it, it does the exact same thing as when you don't have any platforms and no one can hear you. Understanding that, if you know all artists are following this, I guess you can kind of say, blueprint of, I don't even know why anyone believes this blueprint, that you can be heard because you put music on the internet or on a platform. And just because the big artists do it. If you understand this, then, and you're seeing that what I'm saying is 38 million people went unheard doing this, then I naturally feel like everyone should be in the opposite space. Like, just like I said, when you weren't heard here, you had to build the organic because you didn't have the platform. And if that worked here, it's going to work here. You see what I'm saying? Because the idea is that no one's being heard because either the platform's too big or no one's being heard because the platform's too small. So the only combatant on both sides is to build your own platform or fan base. However, as I said, I get people argue with me all the time. I don't sell tickets. I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't do. Well, this is the only commonality here. And in the business world, that's finding your consumer. And we've talked about this before. Finding your consumer is the main thing a business has to do. So if you want it as a business, that's the only way you can combat both of these types of ideas. So this has been Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean. It's brought to you by the Qoncert app. The Qoncert app is in tons of states right now. So definitely get on the app, and if you see shows that you like, jump on and we'll send you the details. You can just get on the show. That easy. Start getting your shows popping. And if we're not in your city or state, definitely tell everyone to get on the app so we can see the demand, so we can get out there and start putting things on. If you know some venues, it makes it easier for us to get out there and start moving around. Fans, you can get on the app now and start seeing all these artists and start supporting. Get on the app, everybody, artists, fans, get on the app now. The Qoncert app, Qoncert. Definitely do that. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Sean, and this has been brought to you by the Qoncert app. Music is a Day Job.